So Jimbo Fisher has weighed in on college football realignment and said that it's all about the money. People are only doing it for the money. Jimbo Fisher said that.
How much is he making?
More than God.
Yes, he is. This is crazy. It really is. I wonder how people feel about this, too, guys, because maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you just want a made-for-television conference, and it'll give you all the big games, and strip all of the sis boom ba out of it. Don't care anymore. Just give me semi-professional football that has no tradition, no honor, no anything. It's just mercenary football players pretending to go to college so we can all make a bunch of money because we love our Saturdays. And the transaction is that brazen, that greedy. It's just, ha, ha, ha. Remember when you thought that it was about cheerleaders and marching bands? No. It's about what can we put on television for how much money? All the mercenary coaches are going to fight each other for the money. All the players are going to want money. And it's going to be professional football on Saturdays that's less good than Sundays, but it loses all of the stuff. The pageantry is gone, Stugotz.
Well, there's still Ohio State and Michigan. There's still some of those games, Dan.
Okay, but what are we doing? It's not that anymore. It's just.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's entertaining. It fills my Saturdays. It's something I can gamble on. I don't really care about conference realignment. I know many people do. I'm just not one of them. I care about the 4 teams or the 6 teams, the 8 teams, whatever it's going to be that are standing at the end of the year.
Saturday football by semi-professionals.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know you're right, Dan. I think all the pageantry that you're talking about, I don't know that it goes anywhere. I think it's as authentic as it was before. It's still going to be just as authentic. The colors of the jerseys aren't going to change. The names of the schools aren't going to change. And I think that's what people get tied up in. They could care less about who are in the jerseys as much as they care about the colors of the jerseys and what they represent to them. So, yeah, I do think some of the rivalries will be lost because of the realignment, but you'll get new rivalries. And if your team is good, you'll love college football. If your team stinks, you're going to hate college football. It's how it's always been.
I think the rivalries is the biggest loss for college football because Oregon State is one of the most fun rivalries in the sport, and we are going to lose out on that. And you're going to start to see this happen, though, because everything is so money-based that the ACC is probably going to end up falling apart. And rivalries we know there, Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Clemson, those aren't going to be the same anymore. It's all like taking away from the student athletes, specifically the non-football player student athletes are going to get hurt by this the most. And then the fans are losing, the games they love, the ability to travel to close games. It's really, really bad for all of college athletics.
I don't know what I'm going to do without Oregon State.
The Civil War.
But you're
So proud of you.
You are the breaking point, Chris Cody. All you want is Saturday games to watch, to gamble on.
Give me game day. That's all I need.
But
Yep.
you also have no earthly idea and have known it at no point in your life what it's like to actually care about a rivalry that feels like that on the football field that week. The fans, it feels regional. It feels like your high school school spirit just exploded in a mushroom cloud of this comes from a different time. You're from Miami. You have no experience with what this actually is, but it's what's been sold. And maybe it doesn't matter that it's been sold because we can pretend it's still amateurism. We'll fool ourselves into anything. But what college sports will be now on Saturday is more brazen capitalism than it's ever been. It's made for television programming that is not about education, scholarships. It's all about, can my team buy better players than Alabama?
But Miami and Florida State hasn't been a thing for a while now, in large part because those teams and those programs aren't any good. So that game hasn't really mattered, and I'm still fine with college football.
But it still matters to the fans. Even when Iowa's bad, I hope they kick the shit out of Wisconsin. We don't, but I hope. It's not about, people will show up for college games. Nebraska sells out every game, and they have not been good in years. It's about the tradition and the rivalry and the experience, and that's going to be diminished when Nebraska's having to travel to Seattle, once a year. That's crazy.
She loves college football.
I know.
You don't.
I know.
But I'm saying that's where the disconnect is.
But she really loves college football.
Yeah, but I think there are lots of people like her in different parts of the country, and we aren't like that. So I think I'm probably guilty of this also, where it's it's always been professional. And that's why at the start of the segment, I feel like I might feel a little different than I did at the beginning of the segment, where I was thinking, like, it's not really going to change anything. But for the people who live and die by it, and when Lucy made the point about traveling to the games, and like I do remember, even in Maryland, there were some fans who really liked to just drive down to when we would go kick Virginia's ass, or drive down to Clemson or Georgia Tech. It's a whole lot different when you got to go to Ohio State or Michigan, and that changes. So I imagine for people in the South and in the Midwest that don't have professional teams, they are going to lose some of this.
Is Corso still doing headgear?
Right.
That's all you care about?
That's all I care about.
Is Hawaii still playing at
He's gotta
midnight?
take a break. No, they will be.
Is McAfee doing headgear now? How's this working?
Dominique, I wanted to ask you about this because you care about the Maryland program, and one of the things that quietly happened, because the monetization of this has been really fascinating to watch, that Tua's kid brother, who seemed exceptional to me last year, surrounded by a whole lot of people on his team who weren't that exceptional, that the SEC reportedly, SEC teams were coming after him with Kyle Trask money, pro money, like Desmond Ridder money that guys who are in the league, Malik Willis money, that Tua's kid brother is an economy that could have gone to the SEC for a price and decided to stay at Maryland for whatever it is his reasons are, whether it's loyalty or anything else. But, Dominique, you don't think that those transactions are going to be something that cheapens the sport? The idea that the SEC team can just come in and just buy your quarterback from a lesser team?
Well, they didn't buy him because we bought him back, I think is what actually happened. And to be fair, we got lots of other great players, too. It's just the O-line, D-line situation. It's tough in Maryland to get power up there. But anyway, aside from all that stuff, yeah, it doesn't change it for me. And that's the point I was making, that I think I might be wrong, because it's different. For like hearing Lucy talk about it reminds me that I do know people like this. It's just not who I am. And so I have the illusion of college football being all this pageantry stuff that you're talking about, Dan. I lost that my freshman year. I was redshirting the whole year. They burned my red shirt because we had a chance to win the conference for the last 2 games. Burned my red shirt. We won those games, and we won the ACC tournament. We went to the Orange Bowl, and we got DVD players. We came back. All the coaches had new cars, and the head coach got a $10 million extension, and we got a bag of sweatshirts. And that's when I was like, all right, this is not sis boom bye, whatever, all that BS that Dan was talking about. That's when it died for me. So like seeing all this stuff happen now, it's like, yeah, I don't care the same way. And I think that when you are inside the machine, it looks different. And I think you're probably right. For people like Lucy and other fans who are outside of it,
it's the whole illusion,
they see
Dom.
something else.
Dom, the business of it that hits you with a gift bag on your first day is not what fans think they're buying. It's not what they're celebrating on Saturdays. That's not to see the injustice create a total Wild West of brazen selfishness where literally nothing matters but dollars can be unsurprising to you because you've been in the belly of the beast. But God almighty, there's supposed to be a difference between college football and pro football that isn't just our minor leagues and that's it. Like, it's supposed to mean something more than that, is it not?
There's a difference. You can only play for 4 seasons.
What brand?
The sweatshirts?
No, the DVD players.
I don't know.
2001.
Do you still have it? You still have the DVD player? The one that you got for tearing up your body on behalf of school spirit?
Hell no, I don't have a DVD player. Or I still have the ring that is replete with fake diamonds.
The thing that hurts when he just says, my redshirt season, they burned it. Think about what he's saying there. He sat, 9 games?
Yep, we sat 8 games, and we were leading the ACC. We went down to Florida State, and was it Walker? Javon Walker went off on the corner that we had there, and we lost by 1 touchdown, I think. And the following week, that corner was injured, and we needed to.
So they
burn
needed
my
you for
red
2
shirt.
games?
Yep.
Did you want to play in those 2 games?
Of course, because I'm brainwashed by football. It's like it was such a joy to be like, all right, now I can be a part of this. Now, yes, I would love to sacrifice for my guys. Let me go out there and do that. And we won, and it was fine. Then we went down to the Orange Bowl and University of Florida, beat the dog shit out of us. Whew. They should have been in the Natty. I don't know why they was messing with Maryland in the Orange Bowl.
It is funny.
Well, you were robbed of 10 games.
He was not only robbed of 10 games in a portion of his youth, he learned an early lesson on how disposable he is and then became someone who worked in finance at the leagues because it's like, man, this is shitty from early, the way they use up our bodies and don't give us anything but a DVD player. I should fight for more purposeful things because I thought that the height of sports was me getting to the top of this, and they don't care about me at all.
It's a fun experience to watch it happen to quarterbacks because it happens to all of us at some point where you realize they don't really care about you. You're expendable. But the quarterbacks, they don't believe it happens to them until eventually it does. Andrew Luck's available. Sorry, Peyton, we're good on you. Your shoulder goes out, Drew Brees. Guess you better leave. Drew Brees was one of the more active quarterbacks in the union because he learned early on that you are just one of us. Sorry, Tom Brady. Win us 6 Super Bowls. You got to go 2. We don't want you here either. So it's a long process. Corners learn early. D linemen learn early. Quarterbacks slow to learn that they don't really give a shit about you.
It's fascinating because they did treat with kid gloves a little bit at the end of the season because quarterbacks do get treated differently. At the end of last season, Derek Carr and Mariota lost their jobs, and the teams were like, you could just leave. You don't have to work anymore. Just take the last 3 weeks off. Or they were like, I'm not coming back to work. You've taken my job, and that's it. Like, very quietly, they just got run off the mill. They're going to have to end up somewhere else, no matter what they gave to their teams. But it seems like at the end, they were allowed a different set of rules where they were allowed to collect their paycheck. They weren't released. They were just leaving.
Being a quarterback's pretty nice. Yeah. Seems pretty awesome. People get in trouble if they touch you in practice. Mm-hmm. They get in more trouble if they tackle you in the games. It's a little stressful, though, but it seems like good life.
They're the only stars, though. They're the only guys in the commercials. They're the only ones in that sport where everyone is disposable. I feel like that's almost by design. They changed the rules to protect Tom Brady because we got like 12 guys who have actual value.
There's nothing funnier to me than when you're watching the promos to the Thursday night football game and they're not quarterbacks that are any good and they like, watch T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt.
Try to tackle Derrick Henry.
They put up the 2 players when they're promoting next week's game, and it's like, we got a real serious outside backer, guys.